Hey, everybody! Welcome to Kids on Bikes. This is a show where we pretend to be kids. We don't have any bikes in this particular run, but
One day we
I hope
will.
you weren't coming for the bikes, and I hope you were coming for the kids, because that's what you're getting.
That's what you get.
Sounds ominous.
Yeah.
The kids.
Yeah.
Someone
Coming
in
for
no,
you.
not the children. Someone in the Discord called it adolescence on velocipedes, and I felt like that was good. I can't remember who said that.
I think
That's good.
I think it's most we're adolescents on snowmobiles is what we are right now.
Really, yeah. 'cause
There was a snowmobile, yeah.
There was a snowmobile.
Yeah.
Stolen cars.
Stolen cars.
Snowmobiles
Stolen
and
vans.
stolen cars. That's the real name of the show.
Oh,
Kids
man.
stealing cars.
Kids stealing cars.
Kids stealing cars.
And
Good.
and
Good stuff.
stealing firearms.
Oh yeah.
That's good too.
Those were all bad ideas.
Well, if you haven't seen our first 3 episodes, you should catch up on those, is what we're saying by
Yes.
all of these inside jokes,
If you
stories.
haven't seen it, you
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, they steal
It's
a car.
fantastic.
Yep, and you can catch those on YouTube, the Shadowcasters Network YouTube channel, and right now I'm in the process of getting the last episode up there. There was some pesky global pandemic that distracted me this week, and I was not able to. I didn't get the 3rd episode. I shouldn't say I wasn't able to. I was completely capable, but it didn't happen. And I'm in the middle of getting it uploaded right now, and so that'll happen, and then hopefully tomorrow get whatever we do tonight up there as well. So.
Woohoo! Cool. All right, well, why don't we get started then?
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a quick recap because our we actually had 3 adventurers, one of whom is not here today. We'll start with introductions to hear who your character is and how they've been feeling for the last 4 months, because our this adventure is going to happen in mid to late April. So let's start with
Perfect.
Cassie.
So yeah, I'm Cassie, and I am playing Dahlia, and she's 11. I don't know. I haven't
sure?
decided. Yep. Well, I haven't decided if she's had a birthday yet.
Oh,
I
she
think
might be
kinda-
12 now.
I think it might be no. I think maybe she might have been born in the summer, and so she never had birthday parties because all the kids were gone for summer. Does anybody remember?
That sounds right.
That sounds right. But no, she's been doing okay. Definitely keeping up with Billy, her best friend, making sure he's doing okay. And so far, things are getting better, and there's a somewhat sense of normalcy is returning to our lives, and it's almost like it's almost like it was a dream, a weird dream that was real. But kids are like, oh yeah, that happened. Did it happen? You'll be like an adult, 30 years later, and be like, did that happen, or was I just like, was there lead in the water? Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, but that's how
what you're saying is
doing.
life in Middle Grape, Ontario, has gone back relatively to normal. It's its usual boring self.
Yeah. So fun going back to school. Yeah,
Good.
because we're not out yet. I think we're going on spring break. Maybe I don't know what the school system is like in Canada. So maybe it's spring break. Maybe it's not.
Not usually March. Usually March is spring break. Bobby.
Zane is it's tougher recovering for Zane. Zane's dad died during all this. So as you might imagine, things have been a little bit rougher for him. It's not the day-to-day gloom like it was before. Things are returning to normal, but you know, it takes some time to get over something like that, especially a death in the circumstances in which they happened. So, but I think Zane is trying to look for excuses and reasons and ways to forget about what happened. He's up until that point in his life, Zane has been kind of like in control of everything also. And in one way or another, he's been in control of the events of his life. He's a popular kid. People like him a lot. And he's in control of his social life. He's in control in some way or another of his academic life. You know, maybe it's not as good as it could be, but he's found ways to get by through his own actions. And I think this happening to the town, this strange and mysterious event that rocked the town and his life, shook that foundation, and he doesn't like he's trying to think, like he's trying to get that back, but I think deep down he knows that has fundamentally changed him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he's still it being so soon after, he's still trying to regain that kind of control, I think. Probably futilely, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I'm interesting to see how that manifests a little.
Yeah.
So yeah, with these two, and also Billy, Zane's brother, they essentially
Saved the
found
world.
and eliminated a major threat from what seemed to be another dimension. There's not really a way to explain it other than that. With the help of their newfound friend Amanda, who is able to open portals to this other dimension. You're not 100% sure what's going on. You never fully were able to explain it. Maybe, I think Billy probably dug into it for a little bit, did a little research. Amanda maybe looked into a couple of things as well, but not really super clear what exactly is happening. And of course, the end result of Mr. Bouchard passing away has, I'm sure, had significant impacts on Billy as well. But I would like to jump back to the beginning and back to a scene that we first opened our sessions on, when we saw a plane flying in to Middle Grape, a 737, far too big for the tiny airstrip and 2-story airport tower where Mrs. Barbara Bouchard was watching. She runs away from her tower as this plane comes down, because the wing is going to crush her tower, and it does. And it lands down on the runway, and we zoom up. We go upward above the trees, away from Mrs. Bouchard, high above this plane, and we see again that purple flash that sliced the plane in half. And we continue zooming out wide, and we see spread wide beneath us the northern Ontario landscape. It is densely treed. You can see Middle Grape as a little opening in the trees, a winding secondary highway that leads to the town. Over here you see the excavation that created the uranium mine. And where this big flash of purple happens, as that flash bursts, we see simultaneously in a perfect circle all around it, several other bursts of purple are happening a good distance from the town. And we zoom in on one of them towards the north. And we see a similar gap in reality that we've seen before, that Inspector Grist kept opening up and popping out of at the most inconvenient places. And Out from this gap in reality comes a writhing, amorphous black and purple slug-like creature. It tumbles onto the ground, which is covered in 1.5 meters of snow, and it strikes the snow and falls through it with a hiss. Steam rises around it and it bunches up and leaps upward, flailing, makes a high-pitched hissing sound, and launches itself away from the snow, and then falls back down. And it does this kind of leap a couple of times. It keeps launching itself kind of in random directions until finally it leaps towards a massive maple tree towering above the deep snow. It sticks to the bark of the tree and clings on, pulsing. Its movement slows, the twitching stops, and it pushes itself into the core of the tree. It soaks in until there's no trace left behind. The tree looks completely normal, but we start to hear another barely perceptible hiss, and you see water beading on the snow that's sitting against the tree, beating into small little droplets that then sizzle and steam upward into the snowflakes that are tumbling down. Now, Dahlia, you, every April with your father, you have an annual camping trip.
Yes.
And when you first made friends with Billy, you started inviting him and his dad on this camping trip. So it's become a bit of an annual tradition. And now how do you manage this? It's a bit of a uncomfortable situation. I don't know if Dahlia would know that that's uncomfortable, or what would she think?
Well, I think, like, there's a part of hers that's just like it doesn't click until like right before she's like thinking about like telling Billy that hey, it's almost time for our camping trip kind of thing, and then like stops herself just before that whole conversation begins because she's like, oh, I have to rethink this. And so so then it's more like asking if he'd still be interested in going, because like I mean he could still come, he's still invited because it's like the thing that we do. Maybe we could invite someone else too.
And I think Mr. Kenny, your father, he knows this is uncomfortable and that maybe Dahlia's not quite mature enough to get that. So he says, Dahlia, maybe invite another friend, maybe somebody else in there, and another parent if you want. You can, there's a couple options there if Billy and Billy agrees. He says he wants to come.
Okay, so
but he suggests having someone else there,
and that is an excellent idea. And the only other dad that I have been in acquaintance with is Amanda's dad. And so that's gonna be like, well, if we want to have more than one dad there, then we can invite Amanda and her dad, and then Billy.
Yeah, okay, so the 5 of you are planning to go camping. What's the purpose of this camping trip? It is like mid to late April. Now in Ontario, mid to late April,
it's so cold.
It's cold still. The temperatures sometimes dip below freezing, sometimes not. It's kind of wet. A good chunk of the snow has melted, but maybe not all of it. It is Middle Grape is a place where a lot of people camp, hunt, fish. They do that a lot. This is a region that has a lot of lakes, and it's not too hard to get a hunting license, but there's nothing is in season in April. So why do Dahlia and Mr. Kenny go on this trip? What specific thing are they doing or looking for, or?
Gosh. So I think that because sometimes you just kind of you don't have to have a camping trip because you have to go because you're going hunting. Sometimes you can just have one and just for fun. And so like her and her mom and her dad would go have like would just do fun camping trips, and it was kind of like the safest month really is like April, so like no accidents happen because nobody else is really out hunting and doing stuff. So they always went on April, and they like would find like it was like Dahlia's mission to find like the perfect camping spot, like that was her job. And then you know, like find the least muddiest place just simply and hope for the best. So, and then when Billy, like she started inviting Billy to come along after her mom passed, and so because she still wanted to keep doing it, she thought it was important. And so that's when Billy really got into like the whole, I'm a scout, I'm gonna go learn how to do things in the woods and figure out how to do a compass and read a map and all that kind of stuff. So that way he felt like he was, you know, participating in you know, not just being a tag along. So yeah. And then yep. So yeah.
Okay, very cool. So let's talk about Zane a little bit. It's been 4 months since this harrowing experience with Amanda, and Zane started to realize that he liked her, but why hasn't he asked her out in the past 4 months?
It's a good question, because he's pretty used to just doing it, right? Just like going for it.
Guy.
Yeah, he's a confident guy. He knows what he wants, and he usually gets what he wants. But I think like part of the reason that he liked Amanda so much was because of how different she was than anybody he'd ever been interested in before. And I think maybe at the root of it, or at least that's what he tells himself. I don't know what the real reason is, maybe, and maybe he doesn't either, but that's what I think he says to convince himself, is that to make himself understand why he's not being so forward, is that she's not the same as all the other girls that I'm used to interacting with, so I don't know how to navigate, you know, this. I don't know, you know, she's not as predictable as other people, and maybe partly also like maybe I actually really care if what she actually thinks about me too, but it's obviously a very complicated situation, right? So it's a very complicated relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Amanda probably hasn't really done a lot about it either, because I think she kind of feels guilty because it's, you know, it's her fault. Like she's carrying that kind of, you know, and she doesn't want to, you know, make things worse for Zane specifically. You know, it's like it's like such a weird dynamic.
I get this feeling that they have this, like, especially now that there's some distance from the trauma that happened. I feel like the interaction that the two of them have together when they're around each other, and probably people like Billy and Dahlia even notice it and maybe even get annoyed by it, is they have this like sort of like uncomfortable unspoken dance where they like are sort of like almost flirting with each other but not really, and then when it starts to like reach a certain point where it might be a little like, then one or the other backs off uncomfortably, and and so they're kind of like just dancing around each other, and this idea that they both kind of are into each other.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh man, teenagers.
Yeah, and kind of pull it back for different reasons.
Right.
Okay, so that kind of gives us a little bit of a picture. Does Zane spend time with her at school? Like, I imagine they're quite different friend groups. Is it a?
Yeah, I bet you that's one of the things that Amanda might find annoying about him right now, is that he's still out of
He's-
habit, out of reflex,
Mhm.
out of a again a desire to revert back to a normal. He sort of kind of clings to some of his old ways, and part of that is like being kind of a dick.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if at least once or twice that was like in her direct, because they have at least a class together, and so that might have been directed towards her once or twice, and that might have really made her mad, and Zane probably felt bad about it afterwards, felt guilty, but like, like where he brushed her off or something because he was just trying to look cool,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
I think Amanda too kind of goes back to her surly, cynical, sarcastic kind of loner vibe. Not so much
Yeah.
loner. She has
Like-
a couple of friends, but she is
One
maybe
of those
even a
big
little more
city
so.
girl in a small town kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
She definitely has a superiority complex, and she, people think she's a little stuck up, but yeah, it's she's, you've kind of seen another side of her. All of you have seen a more vulnerable, more exposed and determined side, and she is excited sort of about the camping trip. She's a little uncertain, but she and Dahlia have very similar tastes, and I'm sure they've had some good chats over the last little while, even with the age difference, maybe
Yeah.
they've hung out a couple of times and have bonded over music and that kind of thing.
Definitely. Like I feel like that Amanda would definitely be feeding Dahlia's habit of like getting her more and more like neat music that she's not been able to hear before, and she's like, yeah, this is what's being played right now on the radio in Toronto. Just like,
And I think too that she's even more hardcore than that. She brings you like demo tapes from Nordic death metal groups.
yes, like, oh my gosh, like when you know
Like,
when
you
they
can't
have
buy this here.
no, you can't. You have to like order the Kerrang from the UK, and those are the ones that have like the demo CDs in the magazine. So yeah.
And her dad goes on international conferences and like brings them back for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she so she has quite a collection of very weird, very foreign sounding metal that Dahlia's like, what?
This is so cool.
Oh my gosh.
I don't understand what they're saying, and I can't read the band name
They
because
sound
there's
so
too many
angry.
weird squiggles. Like death metal
yeah.
band names are always like hard to interpret.
So it is the morning of the camping trip. You're set to leave later that day. And Mrs. Bouchard calls the Kennys, and she says, "Oh, hi, Dahlia. I just wanted to let you know that I don't think Billy's gonna be able to join you.
What? Why not?
He's, he has a bit of a stomachache. He's not feeling great.
Aw.
This is something that's happened a few times in the last few months.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not feeling great, and I asked him if he wanted to go. He said he does, but he doesn't. He's a little bit nervous about going with his stomachache. So I think he's gonna rest up for the time being.
Aw, okay.
Sorry,
That's
Dahlia.
weird. It's okay, Miss Bouchard. Mm-mm.
All right, well, you have fun. You have fun with your dad and Amanda.
Yeah, so she hangs up the phone, and she goes and she tells her dad is like, Billy's not feeling good and he's not coming on the camping trip.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you have anyone else you want to invite? You can bring somebody else if you want.
So in her 11-year-old mind, the wheels are turning, and she's like, do I want to invite like the kids that she goes to school with? And she's like, no, she does not want to.
The ones that
do
make fun of
that.
me, no thanks.
Yeah, the ones that like, or even the ones that still talk about the whole bear thing after everything that's happened. Like, no. I don't want to. I don't. And then because then they'll just talk even more because they'll see my dad and they'll do things and they'll see all the crows and it'll be like, oh man, I can't invite any of those people.
Yeah.
Well, and then it kind of clicks where you like she knows that they like each other, like Zane and Amanda, and now she's she's seen movies where like that like the whole kind of thing, the meet cute stuff, and then like the people get thrown into a situation again where they have to like interact with each other, and then she's like totally in her she's like has it in her head now that she could play this matchmaker
Dahlia,
and
ever
get them
the
together.
meddler.
Right? the secret meddler. She doesn't know what she's doing, and so she's like, okay, maybe we can invite Zane instead.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds great. Yeah, we've got space for that. That's no problem. He can just borrow Billy's stuff, I'm sure. Or does he have his own stuff? I don't know if he camps. Does he? He does, doesn't he?
I don't know. No.
Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, if he wants to come, let's do it. All right, and he like takes another load of supplies out to the waiting 1979 GMC truck.
Nice. So Dahlia goes back to the phone and like calls up and dials the Bouchards again, and then and waits for someone to answer.
Bring, bring. Who does Zane think is calling? It's usually for him.
Yeah. What time is it?
Mid-morning. It's an extra day off school. You've got like a 4-day weekend.
It's probably he probably doesn't get a lot of phone calls anymore.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he does. It's probably just some Zach from hockey practice.
Zach from his hockey team.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's completely perfect.
Nice. Probably talking about doing some extra training since he got the 4-day weekend.
Yeah. All right. So he picks up. He goes, yeah.
Zane?
Oh, who? Is this Dahlia?
Yes, it's me, Dahlia.
Billy's not did Mom call you? Billy's not going camping.
I know. I was calling back because I wanted to invite you to come instead.
What?
Well, I figure that if you come on the camping trip, then you can tell Billy all about what happened on the camping trip, and it'll be kind of like he was there.
It's gonna be you and your dad?
And my dad.
This plan of yours. Why don't I just pretend I went camping and then tell him about it?
No, you have to come. You've never come camping with us before. It'll be so fun.
Dahlia, have you ever known me to go camping?
No, which is why you should probably start.
You know that it's April, and that's around the time of year when bears come out of hibernation.
Well, it won't be bear season. It's fine.
It won't be bear season. Because you said so.
I'm the bear whisperer.
Yeah.
So she's like, kind of like, oh, wait, it's not working. What do I do? Oh, and so then she's like, well, because we also, we invited, I don't remember the doctor, Amanda's last name.
Cone.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, we invited, Dr. Cone to come too, and Amanda.
Oh, did you? Um.
How is this phone call so funny?
Oh my god, I'm crying now. That's so funny. I can't even. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Well, at least, okay, maybe there'll be someone closer to my age there.
Yeah, and that way you both can learn about camping stuffs. Because Amanda's not been camping either, except for that one time where we all camped out.
That one time. Maybe Dahlia doesn't want to bring up that one time. So how did you even convince Amanda to look? That's it doesn't matter. You know what? That's a great idea. I will collect I'll try to find another cool arrowhead for my brother. That's the reason that I'm going.
Good, great. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we're packing up the truck right now, and then we can swing by and pick you up, and then we can go.
That sounds good. I'm gonna have to cancel hockey practice. Out of character, Zane doesn't really like hockey.
And like the season's over. This is like a post-season.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, your skills up kind of is super boring.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's only on the hockey team because that's what's expected of him
it's
in
cool.
the social pecking order anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to call off this hockey practice. We got a skirmish coming up. What do we call that? Not a skirmish. Yeah, they call them skirmishes, right?
A game.
We got a game coming up.
You
We got a sports game coming up.
Exhibition? No, it's
Exhibition.
too late. I don't know. Something's happening.
It doesn't matter.
Some
There's a
hockey
game.
stuff's
Yeah, there's a
happening.
game coming up, and but I'll be there. Yeah, come and get me. What do
Okay,
what do I
great.
need? A sleeping bag?
Well, we've got all of the stuff that we normally
I'll talk to Billy.
to Billy. So yeah, okay, good, great.
Okay.
We'll be there in like a couple hours or something.
All right. See you soon.
I don't know how long. All right, so I'll hang up, and I'll.
I can't believe we just role played the most boring phone conversation.
It's so hilarious.
It was quite authentic, I feel.
I can't believe you effectively role played a very boring conversation. Oh my gosh.
So Dahlia will inform her dad that Zane is gonna come on the camping trip. It'll be so great.
Okay, so let's jump ahead. There's sort of a gravel not a parking lot, but an opening at an end of a long road where people often use as sort of launching point to go off deeper into the woods. So you park your big truck. Dr. Cone parks his much more current vehicle, and the five of you get out. And this is the first time that Amanda kind of clues in that that's not Billy. And
she didn't have a chance to tell them.
Yeah, she's wearing brand new hiking boots, and like she's got very new looking equipment with her, and she looks at everybody and then sees Zane and says, "You're not Billy."
No. Very perceptive.
Okay.
We're going camping. Dane does not have hiking boots on. He has like a brand new pair of Reebok high tops.
Oh my gosh.
He looks good though. He looks really good.
No doubt. Yeah.
Okay, so I imagine this is maybe a 2-3 day affair. You're gonna traipse to a couple of places. What's the first landmark that you want to get to?
Oh man, I think we want to get to the Red Rock first.
The Red Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep.
Love it.
That's the first one.
So that's kind of where you want to be by nightfall. Now you get to within maybe half an hour of the Red Rock. And you and your dad are very sure of yourselves. You know exactly where you're going. You've done this 100 times. And you are walking through, kind of damp ground, some snow patches still remaining. And you start to feel hot. Like you're getting warm. And this is a weird feeling. Like you think, oh, maybe have we been going too much? But you hear a crunch underneath your feet, Dahlia.
Oh.
And you look down and you see a carpet of fresh red maple leaves. Like you would see it in the fall. Ooh. And you look up and there are buds on most of the trees, but there's one tree ahead of you that looks like a tree at the end of October. Most of the leaves have fallen down, and you see one kind of disconnects from the tree and floats down to the ground. Yeah, the temperature seems to have increased somehow. You don't really know what's going on. But this is not the only tree. As you see this first one, it's not the only tree that is showing these signs.
Oh, man.
And your dad says, Dahlia, look! What is this?
I don't know.
Oh
Zane, check this out. There's leaves everywhere. So she's like, there's leaves everywhere.
It's the woods. What do you... Are there not supposed to be leaves out here?
Well, not red ones. That would be in the fall.
Oh. I guess that makes sense.
Amanda unzips her jacket. She goes, jeez. And she's like kind of red-faced and sweating. She hasn't said much at all. And she looks up and says, okay, that's not like normal, right?
No, definitely not normal.
Oh my gosh. I think Dr. Cohn is totally fascinated. He goes over and he like looks up at it and he touches the bark and feels it. He says, my God, it feels warm. It feels like it was in the sun all day. It's kind of sunny, like, it's been have cloudy periods and stuff. Yeah. He's like, this is very unusual. And he starts to follow. There's like, this is the first tree in like a line of a few trees, and he starts to he goes over to the next one.
Ooh. I look over at Amanda and Zane and give them like this weird shit's happening look on our face. We better be ready to fight some aliens.
Zane probably doesn't notice. He's like leaning up on a tree and like got a stick in his hand and he's trying to scrape the because it's wet and probably a little muddy. He's trying to scrape the mud off of his sneakers.
Oh no!
Not really paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a bit white.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Cole's kind of digging in the ground, and he's sort of like looking at the ground between his fingers and he's like comparing it to other trees and sort of kind of muttering to himself. You see that this trail of trees continues on beyond where you can see, this trail of autumn trees in the middle of spring.
And it's just like literally a line of trees that like one after another kind of. Oh man, that's weird.
A path of trees, yeah.
Ooh. Ooh.
Dahlia.
What, Zane?
Did you bring... You seem like the prepared type. Did you bring an extra pair of socks?
Yeah, I brought like 4 extra pairs of socks.
Does Dahlia wear large socks? Larger than her feet?
Well, they're like the wool socks, so they're probably like mid-calf wool socks.
That's
so
what I figured. So they probably would. So he'll take a pair of socks, and he'll start like unrolling them, and he's putting them over after he's wiped his shoes off. He's putting them over his shoes now.
What are you doing?
I
Look.
think that's gonna make it worse.
I just don't want to have to.
It's not gonna wick any moisture away on the outside. It's gonna make it worse. It's gonna hold everything in and cake it all together. You gotta wear the socks on your feet, not your shoes.
Look. I don't want to be. I don't want to be picking mud out from between the out of these soles every time we stop. So I figure it'll save us some time if I cover them up.
Or you could just wait to pick that out when we're done camping.
Amanda scoffs. She says, "We'll just walk underneath the weird trees. It's mostly dry." So she kind of crunches forward on this bed of autumn leaves.
He just quickly finishes putting the socks over top of his shoes, but then also takes that advice.
Yeah.
So you continue forward, I imagine.
Yeah.
The adults are talking like in very, very confused tones.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of hear snippets of what they're saying, but they outdistance you by maybe 10 paces there, and they're pausing every once in a while and chatting about what this could possibly mean as they continue forward. And it is generally on the way to the Red Rock. It's not too far off.
How's Amanda reacting to all of this out of character?
She is she's a little wary.
Yeah.
Okay. She's looking around. She saw weird things happen once, and she doesn't want it to happen again.
Yep.
She doesn't make any specific.
I was going to say that Zane might probably notice that, but I think he's a little distracted himself. So I will, if you think it's appropriate, I wanted to roll my charm.
Cool.
To see if I notice that her state of mind or her state of.
I don't think that would be too hard for you to catch on to. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh yay! First roll.
First roll. And of course,
16.
Zane charm.
Whoa! Look at you go.
Yeah.
So you narrate your own successes. I will say that yes, you do. She's concerned, but you can give me the details.
Okay, yeah. So Zane's following her advice to stand under the trees, and I think he's the reason he came on this trip, in case you guys didn't know. The reason he came on this trip is because he thought this would be a good opportunity to maybe sort of like make up for some of his jerkiness at school lately, because he's not dumb. He knows because they hang out outside of school and they argue. He knows that she finds his recent behavior in front of other people to be rather annoying. So he's thinking obnoxious is a better word. So he's thinking, I can go. We'll have some time together, and So he's started paying a little bit of attention. He notices her worry. So he's sort of like thinking, okay. And he walks ahead a little bit towards the adults, and he says, so what's going on out here, Mr. Cone and Mr. Kenny? What's something strange happening?
Mr. Kenny kind of looks at you and nods and says, "This I've never seen this before. I grew up in these woods. This is not normal. Look, and it's one more. It's one tree after another, one tree after another. How could this possibly have happened?" And Dr. Cone says, "It could be soil pH, maybe, but you need the heat. You need the heat to get." But not even that. You need water. There's no way. This makes no sense at all. No sense at all.
Interesting.
And Dahlia's just like, alien monsters. Yep. They had to fight them once, and now they're taking over the trees. It's not good.
I love Dahlia.
Do you think there's something, like a disease or something?
That sounds most likely. says Dr. Cone. The trees seem healthy, though. I mean, don't they? Do they look healthy to you? And he looks at Mr. Kenny, who kind of shrugs and says, I mean, yeah.
I think as like right before Mr. Kenny answered, like Zane probably like knocks on a tree and he's like, yeah, they seem pretty. And then Mr. Kenny starts talking. He's like, oh, she wasn't talking to me. He's like, yeah, they seem oh, never mind.
So at this point, you get to the last tree in this line.
Or is it the first tree?
Or is it the first? The end tree of this line. And Amanda grabs Dahlia's hand. And she says, what? Did you hear that? She's kind of frozen, like, listening.
Yeah, Dahlia's listening very intently.
Dahlia hears nothing.
I don't hear anything.
So Dr. Cone and Mr. Kenny, they reach this tree, and can I get one of you to roll me a D4? I'm gonna choose this randomly.
Okay, I can do it.
Okay.
Ready? 3.
Okay. So Dr. Cone reaches out on the last tree and does the same kind of action that Zane did, and knocks, like goes to kind of knock on the bark. Mm-hmm. And Amanda screams, "No, Dad!" And you hear kind of like almost like a squelching sound, and you see this purplish black, not even a flash. It looks like an electric shock going into Dr. Cone, but it leaps from the tree to his hand, and he kind of like, his hand kind of twitches, and he sort of like makes, like, his whole body kind of twitches, and he holds his hands up, and he looks around, and looks at Mr. Kenny and then at Zane. And Zane, when he looks at you, you see his pupils begin to expand, and they expand until he has no iris. They're completely black.
Oh my god, he's an alien now.
He starts like hyperventilating, and he gives you this wild, crazy look, turns around, and sprints deeper into the forest. Dad!
What? Oh my god. Did you see that? I'm guessing you saw that.
Oh my god! Go get him! And Amanda starts running after him. Dad! Dad, what are you doing?
I'm gonna run after her as well, like immediately. No, he doesn't. He doesn't think about it.
All right, both of you roll flight.
Oh my gosh. All right.
It's time for flight.
All right. Well, I have not great flight, but I'll do my best.
I'll let you roll first.
Oh, I get a +1 though because I'm a kid, so that helps a little bit, maybe. 4.
Hey, there you go. 10. 10. Now I'm starting to roll well.
Yeah,
I got tiny legs. I got little legs. I can't.
Those socks are really.
I'm telling you, man. The mud weighs you down, seeps into the cracks in the soles of your shoes.
So Dahlia, you start running after Dr. Cone, and you trip on an exposed root and fall face first into these warm autumn leaves.
Ew,
they smell have that kind of sort of smell of decay, of autumn decay. Zane, you managed to keep sight of Dr. Cone. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me what that looks like?
He's running, and he's running frantically. He's running very deliberately, like in a deftly, avoiding anything that is in his way that might be. You know, when you're running through the woods, you're kind of like ducking when things jump out in front of you that you didn't expect. Yeah. But he's got that. He's not having that issue. He's just It's like he knows exactly where he's going and what's going to be in his way.
All that hockey has paid off.
Yeah.
Some chase music going here. Yeah, so you like dodge between trees, but he is moving insanely fast. He is and almost randomly, he doesn't seem to be going in any real pattern that you can figure out. So you're kind of having to bob and weave and sort of follow him in different ways. But finally, you lose sight of him. Before you run out of breath, you lose sight of him, and Amanda runs up behind you and says, "Where'd he go?"
He went that way. I
Oh my God.
lost sight of him. He's going really fast.
Oh my God. Mr. Kenny's next to catch up, and at this point, it is starting to get dark. The sun is beginning to set. And Dahlia is the last to catch up and says, and Mr. Kenny says, "What happened? Where did he go? What's he doing?"
I don't know. He just took off. Did you see the tree? Did you see the tree?
Yeah. Something weird happened with that tree.
Yeah, it looked, Zane doesn't want to say it, but he says, it looked familiar.
Familiar how? Mr. Kenny never actually saw much of this.
Yeah.
He saw the portal Amanda made the one time.
Yeah.
But he does he's like, what? Like what? What do you mean?
Like what how we got back to town after that night.
And Amanda's starting to like, you can see she's starting to kind of like freak out a little. Oh God, okay, we have to find him. I don't know, where did he go? What's he doing? We have to find him.
Well, we won't
don't know.
be able
He
to
looked
find anything.
Wherever he was going, it looked like he knew exactly where it was, but
Oh God.
he kept bobbing and weaving and dodging and
Oh God, not again. And she kind of like puts her hands on her face and tries to take deep breaths.
yeah. I'll put my hand comfortingly on her back, but I don't think he doesn't like say anything to her. He's still like, he's kind of like reflexively going into like that old problem-solving mode, right? Like,
and she kind of like pulls away and sort of looks at you and purses her lips and then back to Mr. Kenny says, "Can you figure out where he went? I mean, it looks like he just ran through here, and you can see like there's muddy tracks. It's pretty obvious where he went."
yeah,
and she
can you like track him like a tracker?
Yeah, they're kind of looking between Mr. Kenny and Dahlia, the people who have some experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be dark soon, and it'll make it really hard to try to track somebody through.
Yeah, but
woods.
we have to find him.
Yeah, yep, we definitely have to find him. Okay, well,
You brought flashlights, I'm assuming?
he kind of looks at you like, lanterns?
Well, I have a
Flashlights, you noob.
He was about to say, I have
And Mr. Kenny, he's kind of he's not 100% sure what to do, and he says, "Well, this time of year, there's not really much wildlife around, so we could set up camp, and then Dahlia and I can look for a bit. We both kind of know what we're looking for. But I don't think we should wait much longer to set up."
No. We have to have something to come back to. Especially if we find him.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's do that, and then we'll go take a look.
Okay, so this is the fastest that Dahlia's set up a camp inside
So you very rapidly set up a camping site, yeah, you are all set to go. It's very clear that Zane and Amanda are very inexperienced.
Yeah.
They're like not really sure what to do. It's a little cooler here compared to where the trees are. What I want to hear. We'll give Bobby a chance to get back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So Dahlia, what advice do you give the inexperienced Zane and Amanda on what to do with a campfire? Because you and your dad started for them, and kind of like set them up with some food.
Yes.
How do you explain to them, not to burn the forest down?
Right, exactly. So it's like you can't put anything bigger than this, than the size of your forearm, onto the fire, and you can't pile up too much.
Why?
Because you don't want too much flame. Because you don't want to start a forest fire.
I've definitely
you
put
ever
things
watched
bigger than
Smokey
that on a
Bear stuff?
fire.
I know Smokey Bear's from America. Still, Smokey Bear says some very good advice.
I forgot his name.
Anyway, so don't make the fire go too high, and don't make it any bigger than this circle.
So, not too high. I don't even... That is, like, what do you mean? Isn't it bigger is warmer?
Yes, but bigger is also a waste of time. You'll burn through all of our wood before we even get back.
There's nothing but wood around us. We're in the middle of a forest.
Do you have an axe to chop everything down?
So it goes back and forth like this. Again, you two just masterfully roleplay such a boring conversation, but it's so interesting to listen to. Oh my gosh.
Also,
so anyway,
yeah, and she'll say if you make it too light, it's gonna attract wildlife.
Probably that's something Zane does not want to happen.
Really? I always thought that fire scared animals away.
Surprise!
Oh, man.
There's no campfires, meaning somebody has food to eat, and then they're gonna come and eat it.
So I think we'll leave Zane and Amanda there, and let's go with
oh gosh,
Dahlia and Mr. Kenny as you take your
Yes.
lanterns and you go out. Yeah, I think Dahlia, your dad's not gonna do this for long because
No.
it's really not safe to be out here. It's easy to get lost even for experienced people.
yeah. And we're leaving two inexperienced people, and we don't want to like get
Yeah.
lost and then leave them lost, and it'll be sad for everyone. It's better
Yeah.
one person lost than 4 people lost.
Exactly. He's like, yeah, maybe half an hour, and he kind of, he's like, all right, well, make sure that that you stay close by me, Dahlia, and you know what to do if things go south. Go right back to the camp, and we'll
Yes.
get everybody out there, out of here. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so you're gonna kind of look at these tracks. They go in this weird weaving, bobbing pattern,
Mhm.
and you're trying to find where they went.
Yeah.
Can you roll? I think this would be flight or brains. Let's go with brains.
Okay. Brains. I'm slightly better at that.
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah, our brainy group member got a stomach ache.
Oh shoot!
Ho!
Whoa.
Guys. Very nice.
I
Wow.
exploded.
Wow, everybody's. Oh, you. By the way, for your failed flight roll earlier, you get a.
Oh right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Well, you get to narrate your successes.
Wow.
What do you see? What's going on with these tracks?
Oh man. So as we we're it's getting darker, but the tracks as we go, the tracks seem to be like the footprints seem to be getting deeper. As in, it seems like Doctor is somehow like collecting some more weight or mass or something that's making his because the ground's not really changing in consistency.
Right.
He's not running through like mud, and so it's like his feet just make more of an indentation, and so it makes it really easy to follow, which is great. But it's also very concerning because it's definitely noticeable.
Okay. Yeah, and this is like something. It takes you a minute to sort of figure it out because that's not normal at all.
No. Yeah.
It's really, really strange. Yeah, and you so you're walking along, you're noticing this with your dad, and you don't really have any you don't have much time, about half an hour before you have to be back at the camp.
Yeah.
But you kind of go in a sort of a weaving pattern, and you start to get a really eerie feeling in your stomach. And then you come upon these tracks. You come upon several sets of tracks. The original ones that are not quite so deep, these deeper tracks, and you see yours and your dad's. You're going in a circle. You've just started going in this circle.
Oh no.
And you and your dad realize this at the same time. And you kind of look at each other. What does Dahlia think is going on?
Well, it's quite obvious that there is some extra dimensional activity happening here. So there's probably alien monsters involved.
Are they still? Can I interject real fast as
Yeah.
Bobby wanting to understand something? Are they still following the footprints and they're still getting deeper?
Yeah, as the footprints continue on, they get deeper. Yes.
Even into the circle now?
Even as they go into a circle. So.
Yeah. So the fresher prints look like they've gained mass, like you said.
Okay.
And as you and your dad is he's just about to say something when you hear a rustling sound behind you. And you turn and you see a much enlarged figure of Dr. Cone. And he's outlined kind of in that purpley light, and you can see his eyes are rimmed in purple, and he kind of makes this. He doesn't make a human sound. He is making the rustling. He's not rustling leaves. He's making a rustling sound as he begins to shuffle toward you. And I think we're gonna take our break right there.
Gross. Oh man.
Oh my
Exciting.
gosh.
Oh, Max here. Max, we're on a break.
We got a 5 or 3-5. But
Hey
we'll be
Mac,
back.
yeah. Good to see you.
Oh my
And everybody
gosh.
else in the chat. Yes, we will be back.
I don't like this.
I always, every episode of this series, Scrim, you excel at suspense whenever we go on breaks. It's really good.
Thanks.
Or at the end of all of our episodes, it's all been really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be back. We'll take a quick. My wife. I'm gonna be selfish for a second. My wife just came home and things have been crazy for her. So I'm gonna say normally we take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna say a 10-minute break today, because
Okay.
I'll probably just end up being late, and so we might as well just plan for that.
Sounds good.
And we'll get right back into it. Mac, you just showed up. Well, you know what? It's your job to go now get everybody you know to come and watch us when we come back. And for everybody else who is not following,
Do the same thing.
do the same. And if you're not following us, then follow us. Click the follow button. And we'll be back in 10 minutes. See you then.
See you in a bit.
Hey everybody, why are the cameras all messed up? Let me fix this.
What happened?
Who am I? Who am I?
Where am I?
I know
what's
what the problem
happening?
is. I've got it. I understand the problem. I'm fixing it. It's just this button here. There we go. It was a click of a button. I fixed it. Hey everybody, we're back. And
We're back.
we're kids on sleds. Kids on leaves on the ground.
One of my great failures as a GM is not actually giving you the opportunity to ride a bike.
That's not fair. Because you did. Everybody go back and listen to episode 1. It's on YouTube. There were bikes outside the school, and we opted not to ride them.
Yes, because only Dahlia was proficient on riding bikes through snow.
Yep.
None of the other
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. Well, I think too, it's hard to understand what Ontario looks like with all that snow. Like it's really quite unbikeable. So
Yeah.
it would have been pretty
Unbikeable.
unlikely for anyone to do.
Season 1 introduction to kids on bikes was
With
Northern
no bikes.
Ontario in the
Northern
winter.
Nobody needs bikes then.
And I just had to do it in the winter because I felt like
It was
you know,
appropriate.
every movie, every TV show, they all happen in the summer.
Yeah.
My whole life, and I'm like, where is the damn snow? And I realized that y'all don't get much snow. So
Yeah.
depending where you are,
I like
in
it.
all of the settings of all of the shows.
I like it.
Yeah.
So where were we last? Before our break. Welcome back, everybody. We're here.
All right. Well, before the break, Dahlia and her dad were tracking a dimensionally possessed
Yes.
Dr. Cone, Amanda's dad.
Like
and,
you do.
Like one does. Yes.
Found out that he in fact was tracking them,
Mm-hmm.
and have just seen him making rustling noises as though he is leaves. There are no leaves around because it's April. There's just like buds and maybe like the odd like detritus on the ground, but it's not like crunchy leaves,
So
right?
is it like his movements that are making the noises, or his body, or is he doing it with like his mouth? Like, is he mimicking the noises?
It's too dark to really tell. It's coming from him. This
Okay.
and it like this sound does not match this guy.
Okay.
So it's some weird stuff. But I think we're going to cut away from Dahlia, Mr. Kenny.
Of course we are. Scrim.
And we're gonna go catch up with Zane and Amanda.
Oh yeah, that's right. They've just been left alone.
Yeah.
All
So
by themselves.
it's maybe 25 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. Zane and Amanda are sitting there roasting hot dogs.
Yeah.
I have music for this.
Hot dog roasting music.
Hot dog roasting
Hot
music.
dog roasting music.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Let's try this. Yeah, that'll work. It's maybe a little too sad. But... Oh, God.
Do I hear it? I don't hear it. Turn it up a little bit.
Sure.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
There we go.
There you go. There you go.
Beautiful.
So you are left alone, and it is awkward.
Oh, you know what? One of Amanda's what do you call them? Aspects is she makes jokes in socially uncomfortable situations.
Nice.
She does. That's
Yeah.
true.
She does.
For those of you, just as a brief explanation, for those of you who haven't watched before, the powered extra character, which is Amanda in this case, we have, as players, we all have shared control over her. So we have different. Each of us individually have different things we can do with her, and one of mine is that she makes jokes in socially uncomfortable situations. So I think we're sitting there. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think we're sitting there, and they've just left, and we're like, Zane's staring at his hot dog and kind of like out of the corner of his eye, you know, like looking over towards her, and she says, how's your wiener? And then she like starts to laugh, and then she's like, "Oh, wait a minute." And Zane's like, "Oh."
Oh my gosh.
I can't say. I can't answer that question. There's no way out of that.
She
Oh my gosh.
immediately feels like an idiot. After she does that. It comes around, she's like, "Oh God, I'm an idiot."
So you probably have.
Man.
You might even have less camping experience than I do.
Oh yeah, I have less than you. You who wore
Maybe.
your Reeboks. She like shows off her brand new hiking shoes that she clearly now has blisters from because she's been limping.
Right?
In a show of uncharacteristic humility, he's gonna say, I didn't say you made, less sensible decisions than I do. But I mean, you're being from the city and all. I just didn't figure you probably get a lot of camping opportunities in the parking lots.
No, I went once when I was a kid. So this is the first real camping trip I've ever been on.
My dad used to have us go when I was younger, before Billy was old enough. I think he stopped. He got really busy with work, especially in the summertime. When Billy got older, but that's when he met and started hanging out with Dahlia and her dad. So, but I never went with them. I guess I always just liked going with my dad and didn't want to go. I don't know. Seemed dumb.
Well,
So dumb.
so far it's kind of cold, and also now there's a creepy creature following us, so I can't say. I'd maybe give camping a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm with you. At least there's no bears yet.
What do you mean? Do they sometimes come out?
You've heard this. You've heard the bear story, right?
With Dahlia?
Yeah. That we have bears around here.
Well, I know, but I thought they weren't around. They're not out yet. Is what you're saying?
No. Normally they wait until like the end of April.
Okay, what do you mean normally? Like all of them, or just some of them?
Well, I mean, it would have to be like unseasonably warm. It's fine. It would have to be like extra.
It's been so, Zane. It's been so warm. Why are we eating? We shouldn't be eating. The bear's gonna smell it. Oh shit! And she crams her hot dog into a bun and just like wolfs it down.
I didn't think about that. No, I'm sure it's fine. Dahlia, I start looking through Dahlia's backpack, knowing that there will probably be bear mace there.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Bear spray in
I
there.
think Dahlia took it with her though, probably. I imagine she would have taken the backpack with her.
Yeah, definitely took my backpack. Didn't even think that they might need it because bears aren't supposed to be out yet.
Zane's like, I'm sure Dahlia's backpack has some bear spray in it somewhere, and as he's shuffling through stuff and realizing Dahlia's backpack's not there, he just he just stops looking but doesn't say anything.
She kind of,
It's fine. It's a clear night, isn't it? It's really nice.
Yeah. And she looks up, and she points upward and she says, "Ooh, it's kind of hard to see with the fire, but I can see Cassiopeia, I think." Right there.
Oh, yeah, sure, I knew that.
It's sort of like an upside down W. It's kind of like a squiggle.
Right, I see. I know that one is Orion?
No. She like grabs your hand and like moves it and says, "That one is Orion."
And that one, okay, so I know this one because I heard some professor say it, some teacher say it one time, but there's a bunch, I don't know where it is, but there's a bunch of stars in a cluster that you can't usually see in the city, and it's much easier to see out here, and I bet you'll like it when you see it. So it's up there
Yes.
somewhere.
Yeah. No, it's right there. She's like, it's right, and his belt, Orion's belt kind of points up at it. If you just draw a line, she shows you, she like grabs your hand and like draws a line and says it kind of looks like a smudge, but don't look right at it. Look kind of like
Don't
just
look right at
off
it.
to the side. Yeah, don't look right at it because you can't tell. It's called the Seven Sisters. There's 7 stars. You can't tell, so you have to look right beside it.
Oh, yeah, because it just looks like I can see 1 or 2 right, and then he looks off to the side, and then he's like, "What?"
Right?
But
You know?
it's hard because when I see it, I want to look at it again.
I know. But you can see the. Did you know the Romans used to use it as an eye test for their soldiers?
Really?
Yeah. To see if they could see it.
That's cool. That's really cool. I didn't
Yeah.
know stars were so cool.
She like eats the last crumb of her hot dog and kind of looks to the side and goes, So why didn't Billy come?
It's a stomach thing, but I mean you know why. He's been having a rough time.
Yeah.
It is a stomach thing. I mean, it's not like he's making stuff up, but those stomach problems keep popping up. The the pediatrician, I guess, Mom says that he says it's just a normal sort of like stress, anxiety reaction to stuff, and that he should get better. She's been thinking about having him see someone else about it, but hasn't really decided yet.
And I think that Amanda you can't really tell, or I don't think Zane would be able to tell this, but she's racked with guilt. She feels absolutely terrible and still definitely blames herself. She's never really talked about it because this was kind of her choice, that she chose the outcome where the least casualties were there, and that casualty though happened to be Mr. Bouchard. She is kind of goes quiet and just sort of stares at the fire and wishes for Dahlia to come back.
I mean, it was a tough decision, right? She, like, on the one hand, she knows it was the right one, but on the other hand, like,
it still sucks.
It's still well. She probably knows whenever or thinks she knows whenever the topic is brought up that maybe people think that it was her fault, but you know.
For sure, I think most 15-year-olds would feel like yeah, everybody knows that this is my fault.
Right.
Even when no one would actually know.
Right. Because Zane doesn't blame her. Zane knows. Like, I think Zane is mature enough, you know, to know that it had to happen. I mean, it doesn't make it better, but it had to happen. So.
No. Yeah.
But yeah. What do you think you think they've found him?
Jeez. Why does it have to be my dad again? And then she realizes what she said, and she goes, what? Oh God, I'm sorry.
Zane's gonna change the subject in a way. So you remember at the end of the last episode, I said that he had like a Christmas present for her that he never gave to her.
Mm-hmm.
So he brought that with him. And
Oh man.
I'm here for Cassie's reactions.
Oh shit.
and so he decides that in order to cut away from, like, in order to break the tension of the moment that she kind of thinks that she created, he's trying to make her feel better. He says, "Oh, hey, I got something for you." He pulls out a box from his bag, and it's still wrapped in Christmas paper.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and he says,
Okay.
"Yeah, here, I got this for you. I was supposed to give it to you as a Christmas present, but I forgot." He says it in a way that it's very obvious that he's just lying.
She goes, "Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't get you anything."
And it's how, like, when something's been wrapped for a long time and he's probably, like, carried in his backpack more than once thinking that he was going to give it to her, and
That's so cute.
Yeah.
so like it's worn on, like, the corners and the edges where, like, it's been rubbed up against things inside bags and stuff like that.
Oh my
Like a
goodness.
swish bow.
Yeah.
She opens it very she does it very carefully. She's one of those people who doesn't like to rip the wrapping.
Yeah. And it's like it's in a box, but it's a little, like, it's like a choker, but it's black.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's so 90s.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Very 90. Well, 5 I guess now.
Yeah. It's 95, early 95. But it's a black choker, but it's nice. One of my strengths is that I have a wealthy family.
Yes,
True,
that's true. That's true.
So it's nice. It's like, it looks cool. Like he picked out one that would look nice.
Yeah.
And, like, jewelry-y, but it's also kind of still a little edgy,
Like the silver is really silver, and
yeah, but it's got, like, black stones in it.
Yeah. It's
oh man.
Oh, that's perfect. She looks very surprised, and oh my. Thanks. I really like this. This is thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Merry Christmas, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess Happy Halloween. She gestures at the dying trees in the bottom.
That makes Zane laugh.
Two?
He laughs. Yeah.
Yeah, she puts it on.
Looks good.
It looks really nice on you. Great.
Yeah, it's awkward again for a minute.
Yeah.
And
So tell me more about the Big Dipper.
So I think we'll come back to our
Come back to the horror show.
Yeah.
come back to the impending doom.
I don't know which one is more horrific. What Dahlia is going through, or what Zane is going
Where
through.
do I want to be less right now? I think the fire. The fire seems like the worst option. reliving that kind of feeling. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was starting to get butterflies in my stomach.
sort of hyperventilate. I don't know about this.
Oh boy. Okay, so the mutated Dr. Cone stares you down and makes a sound like rustling leaves. And the light cast from the lantern doesn't seem to actually reflect from him. It seems to almost be absorbed by the lantern.
She's an alien now.
And Mr. Kenny stands between Dahlia and Dr. Cone, and he says, "Run!"
No, no. So she's like grabbing her the back of her dad's shirt, like through the belt loop kind of thing, and just is like trying to tug him away from the monster, because she's like, no, you're not gonna get my dad.
I think he turns and like kind of pushes you. He's like, go, 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 and you start running away.
Yikes.
I imagine you start running away.
Oh man.
Can you roll flight for me?
Oh yeah, sure. My fight's way better than my flight.
No, not fight. Flight.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if we can add that +1. There you go.
Oh,
2.
boy.
I ain't. No, I'm not running.
I mean, you're not anymore.
Exactly.
You turn to run, and you are. It's dark. You just were trying to pull on your dad. You're off kilter. You fall down, and your dad kind of stumbles over top of you. He doesn't fall, but he sort of like takes a step beside you, almost does a little dance to avoid stepping on you.
Yeah.
And he grabs you like by the scruff of your neck and hauls you up. And you look behind, and you see Dr. Cone hasn't moved. He's just staring at you. Yeah, what do you do?
Okay. Well, I am. So my backpack kind of has like fallen off on one shoulder now because it fell down, and I'm like, I'm opening it, and I'm like reaching around in there to grab the bear spray. So I feel like I can contribute to whatever this monster fight is gonna be.
No crossbow this time.
No crossbow this time. I just got my bear thing. But it's still Dr. Cone, so she doesn't want to like hurt him. But then it's also Monster Cone, and so we should just maybe if we keep watching it and we walk backwards, it won't come forward.
So as you do that, it's sort of like slow. As you back away, it advances. And Dahlia, can you roll brains for me?
Oh, jeez. When can I use my grit?
Yeah.
God damn it!
Pick it
I
all.
know. I'm trying to think of No, I know. Grit is so good for you.
Yeah, I got 2 more things here, so I don't even know what to do with my adversity tokens.
Oh wow.
I've got 6 of them now.
Oh jeez. So as you're kind of watching, what you don't notice is that this Monster Cone is staring at your dad's lantern. And too late, you see he lunges for it.
No! I'm gonna spray him with bear spray.
And it looks like he's lunging for your dad. So go ahead and roll fight.
Okay.
By the way, to remind you and everybody else, Cassie, first of all, any newcomers in the chat tonight, adversity token. We get an adversity token every time we fail a roll. And adversity, Cassie, remember you can use that after you roll to add to your value. So like 1 token gives you a +1 to whatever your roll was.
Okay, all right, I'm rolling. All right, so I think that I want to add more tokens to this. I think I'm gonna add 4 to make it a 10.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, you hit Monster Cone squarely in the face. Go ahead and you are successful. Actually, you know what? You describe it.
Okay, all right.
What I want to know first, though, can the first thing you describe be what the sound is?
Yeah. So the sound, it's like if the sound of the other place has been reinterpreted into something that makes sense on the planet, like how it kind of has absorbed like all of these different like sounds of nature.
Okay.
And has essentially warped them into this like really like nightmarish kind of, you're in the dark scary forest of like nightmares, and now and the monsters are all coming at you at once. This is like what Dahlia is hearing. She's hearing like all of the scary monsters that were ever in fairy tales or scary kids movies, all the witches, like hints, like it's all this like deep forest, like this like snow, like when Snow White runs through the forest the first time and it's all dark and the scary eyes everywhere. It's like that.
Okay.
But in sound form.
Yeah.
I tried to put together like 5 different tracks to make that.
I don't even know, like like weird distorted bird
Incomprehensible.
sounds and weird distorted leaf rustling sounds and weird distorted like random calls of animal sounds. It's just, oh god, no, please stop. And so just like on reflex, she tries, like she holds it up and like just sprays him right in the face, because he's like lunging closer, so his arm is like kind of weird and distended a little bit, and like as if it's kind of starting to turn into a tentacle. But as she sprays him in the face, whatever is possessing him has kind of gotten like snapped back and distracted to where the arm just kind of like comes back and looks like a normal arm again and misses the lantern.
Okay, awesome. So you,
Or at least that's what Dahlia thinks happened.
that's totally, yeah, I love it. That's so awesome. So it recoils away from the bear spray, but it doesn't act like you saw a bear actually, like, a living thing act. It sort of pulls back in a weird sort of unearthly jerk, but it doesn't like cover its eyes or start thrashing around. It just sort of kind of like does this like weird shuddering and stays in one place. And continues staring at you, but appears not quite incapacitated, but definitely set back. What do you do?
Oh, so it was like, Dad, I think it was going for the lantern. I think it doesn't like the light. We should turn the lantern up.
Yeah, he turns it off.
No,
And it is pitch black.
oh god, that was
This
really bad
creepy
choice.
purpley creature. And he does in fact have a flashlight. He pulls it out.
Yeah,
Says,
What a
run. What a
right,
jerk.
exactly.
Lad about flashlights.
Yeah,
It's like a little pen light he always carries on his keys.
but it's one of those mag light pin lights, so it's like really bright. You click it like
Yeah.
it 1, 2, 3 to get it brighter. Yeah, totally.
And he says, "Get out of here!" Kind of like keeping his eyes on it as it shudders.
I don't want. What if there's more of them?
Are you like, this thing is still in like within lunging distance?
Yeah, I don't want him. I'm not. It's like, no. He's like, I'm not leaving you, Dad.
He grabs your hand and says, "Okay, we go together. Let's go," and drags you along.
Okay, we're just kind of like keeping the light shining towards it and like kind of to see if it will stay away from us. As we're kind of like backing up and like looking for like where our tracks kind of like came off of the circle to try to like hopefully we can find them so we can back our way back to the camp and maybe bring this monster thing like closer to cause in Dahlia's head she's like, okay, our superhero friend might be able to fix it.
Right. Okay. So you want to kind of bait it to come back.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. For that, That is definitely a grit roll. For
Okay.
sure.
Finally.
Holy shit.
Oh,
That
man.
is a crazy thing to do.
All right,
That is gutsy.
Gosh, I hope I
You
roll
are
good.
gonna die.
Well, it's either that or run dangerously through the forest, and that sounds like
Yeah.
a terrible idea.
To make you, while you're thinking about rolling this, to make you feel good about the roll, I was reading the Kids on Bikes book, and it makes a lot of points several times to make sure that you understand that just because this is a game about kids does not mean that you won't die.
Right. Yeah, you point that out several times.
Okay, all right, here we go. Oh. I'm not even looking. I'm kind of trying to do this with my eyes closed.
Hey.
Okay, 10. That's
Not
good.
too shabby.
I'm gonna use my last two adversity tokens. I'm gonna bump that up to a 12 because I feel like getting it above double
it.
digits is important.
12 is a good mathematically important number.
Success.
Okay.
Tell me how you manage to both keep it at bay and bring it to your campsite with some reasonable measure of control.
Okay, so what we do is first we have like the big bright light going on its face from the mag light flashlight, and then Dahlia is going to turn on the lantern again. She's gonna like get the lantern lit again as like her father's holding it at bay, and so she's gonna be using the lantern as they kind of backtrack to find where their tracks like started going in circles. And once they find it, then they can start moving back quicker towards the camp. And she's gonna make it, and she's gonna try to make it a little noisy. So that way, hopefully, they can. The two that are there will know that we're coming back, and it's not like a bear or
Yeah.
So yes.
Awesome.
And she has like a death grip on her dad's on her dad's like belt, and then she's got like her other hand like just completely white knuckling the lantern as she looks at the monster, she looks at the ground, she looks at the monster, so she's just like in this mode of I'm not leaving without my dad. I'm gonna rescue my dad.
Awesome.
I'm gonna
oh my god. No, how's Dahlia so awesome? She's just the best. Okay, so let's jump back to Zane and Amanda. Amanda has been what's the word I'm looking for? Rambling about stars.
Right.
For a good period. And she
rambling how like in that way that she wants to keep that going so that other conversations don't end up happening, kind of thing.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, and that one's Andromeda. That if you can see, this and she's like going on, and any little bit of interest, she's like, yeah, she's totally dropped her like her facade of sarcasm, and internally is wishing that Dahlia would never come back, and also wishing that she would come back right now.
Right. Well, Zane's definitely soaking it up. I think he's like kind of getting in to his like this is something he's good at, being
yeah.
He's not feigning interest. I don't want to make it sound like he's not being Zane the creep. He's definitely interested, but it might not be because he's interested in the stars. He's just interested because she's so excited about it.
Right.
So, but he's definitely feeding that on purpose. But, And
I think that after this conversation, it culminates in like a very tense moment where she's sort of excitedly explaining something, and as she's explaining, you're physically getting closer together,
right.
And then she turns to like ask you a question and is like 2 inches from your face.
Yeah.
And sort of just freezes there for a sec.
Zane does as well, And he says, it's really interesting.
Yeah. I really like, my dad really likes astronomy, so he always and she she for the first time in like 5 minutes has nothing to say.
Right.
It's kind of just like staring.
So I love the idea of this trope. So I think Zane does like lean in to give her a kiss, and then right when they would be about to, that's when Dahlia's like,
Hey guys, we're almost back, and your dad's coming, and my dad's coming, and your dad's a blueberry monster.
what?
And...
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
No.
No.
What? Did you find him? Is he okay? What's going on?
Yeah. Sir, you gotta get ready to do some superhero stuff. Yeah.
And she goes from excitement to embarrassment to fear and dread for her dad, like within like a single second.
Yeah, it's just
like,
cycles through. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Miss Monster Cone is following this like your really effective strategy of this like lantern penlight. But as you get closer to Zane and Amanda, you feel yourself losing control of him as soon as he sees that fire.
Oh no.
And he lunges past you towards it.
Oh,
As though he's gonna jump into it.
Oh.
What do you do?
It's leaping in the air? Or
Yeah,
is it...
it leaps past Dahlia. So this is.
Oh gosh.
And I'll give you you've got Amanda, control of Amanda too. What is Amanda?
Oh,
Zane,
man, yeah, I
Dahlia.
think,
what do you do?
So
Music is perfect.
gosh.
So she's
so scary.
like so Monster Cone's lunging at
Monster Cone's
Dahlia.
lunging toward it's
At the fire.
Oh, at the fire.
Towards the fire, yeah.
Dahlia, yeah. It's the
Past Dahlia.
past Dahlia towards the fire. And apparently he really likes the fire, or he's really wanting to put it out.
Zane
One
doesn't
of
have
the two.
any qualms with this because he has not, he doesn't know it's Monster Cone quite. Like he's just reacting really fast. All the most well, he knows. I guess he kind of does. Like he knows anyway. He's more concerned with that's Amanda's dad. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And he oh, I know. He's a hockey player. He goes and gives him a swift, hard body check, trying to knock him away from the fire.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Alright.
gosh, I'm trying to think, I think Amanda really, as soon as, is everything okay? And Dahlia's like, nope, it's not good.
Nope.
There's a lot of problems, so I think Amanda is instantly on she rolls through the cycle of emotions, like the pinwheel of emotions, and finally it settles on something bad is happening, and I need to protect my friends and my family because something is very wrong and off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that she's kind of trying to figure out what exactly it is that Dahlia is trying to explain to them. We're saying that it's Monster Cone, Blueberry Monster Cone, you know. Like,
Wow, that sounds like something I'd order at the ice cream shop.
Yeah, I know. So, gosh, I don't know. I feel like Amanda might have to roll like a grit roll at this point to be like, able to like have the frame of mind to be able to do something about the situation.
Okay. Let's start with Zane's body check.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll fight.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, teenagers get a +1 to fight. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Hang on, I need to find all my stats for all my people here.
Yeah, I was trying to. There we go. Teens get a +1 to brawn and fight. Yeah. So, all right. I am rolling. I got a 5. Let me. Nope. You know what? It's too early. If I fail, I fail. It's fine.
Alrighty, please hold.
So I'll take the 5 is what I'm saying.
Okay. 5 it is. Okay. I rolled a 2.
Oh shit!
Success.
Haha!
Yeah. What happens?
So Zane's like I said, he's instinctively reacting. He's like, Mr. Cone! He's like, oh, no, you don't! And runs up and slams him with like his shoulder and his arm right here, right before he gets to the fire, and hits him square in the side. Like he's coming at him from the side, right? And so
Right.
I think Mr. Cone is knocked off his path, but he's bigger now, and he's deliberately moving, and so he doesn't, I don't think, knock him on his butt or anything, but he does manage to alter his trajectory so that he runs past the fire, and then runs and then slows down and stops and turns
Right,
around.
so you divert him.
Yeah.
Okay, totally. And Cassie, what were we thinking Amanda was doing exactly?
Mentioned
grit.
Yeah, so I think Amanda is trying to she has to decide what she's going to do. And because she doesn't really know what she's seeing when she sees her dad in that way, and so she hasn't used her powers at all in the last several months, and so
And also, by the way, sorry, either of you can access Palmer's aspects I gave him.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't used her powers in a while.
She hasn't used her powers in a while, and there was a moment. She'd never really have to use them. It'll be fine. Everything can. She can be a normal person again. And this is like the moment where she realized there's never gonna be a normal. It's never gonna be a normal thing. So it's like in this instance, she's like, "Oh my gosh, my dad's turned into a giant." So, gosh. I don't know if I don't know if she would use her dimensional portals thing right away.
Sure.
Because I think she's gonna try to figure out how to restrain her dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are the ones that you have to? I'm just curious, and maybe other people might want to know. What are the ones that you have access to anyway?
I have sarcastic, sees self as superior, bonded to Zane, loves grunge, punk, and metal, has regular nightmares, and sometimes infers assumption of low intelligence. So when people criticize her, so they think she thinks that they think that she's dumb.
Okay.
And she doesn't like that. So I don't know. Maybe this could be even something from her freaking nightmares that everything just comes back.
I have a suggestion actually.
Yeah.
too, to combine with that. She thinks this is a bear.
Oh my gosh, yes!
And she's terrified of bears. That's her first thought. She's like,
This is a bear!
She realizes she thinks it's a bear and does an action, and then only realizes it's her dad after she does that action.
Yes.
So
man.
what is that action?
She's gonna. I mean, I feel like maybe she sees Zane diving after this bear, and she's like, no. So I think she's gonna try to rescue Zane from a bear.
Oh. Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome.
She's like, oh my gosh, no, you can't have. It's like we were just about to kiss, and you're not gonna take that away from me, bear.
It's like, oh my god, Dad.
Oh my god, Dad.
Okay, so that'll be grit, I think.
Okay.
A D10 for her. Oh gee, what should the and what exactly is she trying to do? Like, pull Zane back, or is she trying to?
I know. So I think that she's going to try to, because Zane has like pushed this bear from like rampaging through their campsite, and now Zane is kind of like teetering on possibly falling into the fire himself now, and so she's she's gonna try to like get and push him, pull him out of the way of becoming getting set on fire.
Becoming on fire.
Becoming on fire. Oh my gosh, I freaking love it. Okay, roll grit.
Okay, all right. D10, you said.
You said.
All right, I'm gonna do that for her. 8. That's not too shabby.
Nice. Okay, yeah, she's successful.
Woo.
So
all
like,
right.
Tell me what that was like.
All right. So Zane pushes the monster cone out of the way, and Amanda is like, Zane, watch out! There's a bear! And she like kind of runs forward. Zane is kind of like teetering, trying to regain his balance after just like completely shoulder checking this monster, and so she manages to like grab his arm and like pull him back, but like when she pulls him back, she pulls him like to where they're almost like in an embracing moment.
I love it. All of this around the fire that Dahlia just lectured them about.
Yep. I was like, oh my gosh, this is bad timing.
I have to. I think it's sometimes important to remind people of this, but Dahlia is 11 years old.
Yes, she does behave a lot older.
Yeah.
But it's only because like this is where this is her skill set.
Yeah,
like this is you're in like the place that she's kind of most comfortable. If it was like in any other like social situation, oh man, it would be over. Like I'm pretty sure the next time we play Kids on Bikes, it's gonna be like so much more involved with dealing with other people, and Dahlia's not going to know what to do.
Right. Remember, go back and watch episode 1 when we were in the music store. Zane was in his element and Dahlia was not. So.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good scene.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you Amanda successfully saves Zane from the fire in another moment of awkward teenage sexual tension.
Yeah.
And but Monster Cone is still on the loose, and he's off kilter for a minute, and then rushes toward the fire again. This whatever this thing is, it wants fire. It wants heat. It likes light. Is there any other type of teenage sexual tension? No.
It's really not. It's really
always
not.
awkward. Always awkward.
Oh my gosh. So I think Dahlia and her dad are like running to kind of catch up, and gosh, like.
And I think Amanda realizes that's not a bear, and sees that it's her dad. She says, "What do we do?"
Oh man. Ah. We have to. So like, I assume.
I want. Oh god.
You go. Do it, Zane. Do it. You go, Billy. Bobby.
I don't know. I feel like Zane's gonna do something really stupid.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Zane realizes that he's going for the fire, and Zane's a very, like, direct problem solver, right? Like,
Mhm.
he identifies the problem, and you have to address the problem directly. So I think Zane is going to, like, in an attempt to do away with the fire, he's going to, like, kick the fire to try to put it out, right? Which is a very bad idea in the middle of the woods.
That's not great. That's not great.
But that's what I think he would do. And if
All right. Roll grit for me.
Oh my god, really?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Here, let me show everybody Zane's stats in that D4 of grit. All
Oh
right.
my gosh. You can do it, I believe.
All right. The plus side is I'm probably going to get an adversity token.
Odds are strong.
Here we go. Oh, wait. I have to click that. 2! I got a 2.
Yay.
All right. 2 is a fail.
Yes.
So, you go to kick the fire and you succeed at kicking the fire.
Sure.
But those wool socks you have on the outside of me.
But yes, you light your foot also on fire, and you catch on to this immediately, and start doing a dance, because stop, drop, and roll, but you sort of forget it for a second, and also doesn't really apply to feet, and so you're kind of doing this weird little like.
What's going on?
And now Dr. Cone is after you instead of the fire.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So I'll get you also to roll brawn for me.
Okay, I get a +1 to Braun
He's
As a-
launching at you.
as a teenager. But I still only have a D6. So we'll give a +1 there. I got a 6!
Ah, not too bad. Oh, that didn't explode because it was a 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Good work.
So it's
Solid.
Matsukone leaps at you, and you have failed. I rolled a 7. Leaps at you, and latches on to your foot. And so those like hand tentacles you described earlier, Cassie. He like reaches out with his hands, and they turn into like these weird little tentacles.
No!
And you see those like slug-like appendages, and the slug sort of grasps onto the fire, and your foot feels freezing cold. It's like this. It's like, and you start to feel like tingles up your leg, like it's like pulling and drawing, and it hurts. And you see this fire. Instead of it's weird because you feel cold, but it starts getting bigger, and it starts to grow as this thing sort of absorbs itself into it.
What gets bigger?
The fire.
The fire gets bigger.
Fire gets bigger.
The fire on my foot?
Spread up your leg.
Oh my god.
And
So it
around your foot, like on the ground beside, even though it feels cold and you're feeling tingles, you see this fire gets bigger as this thing starts to like suction cup itself onto it. And you can't move your leg, you're stuck.
So it simultaneously is growing, but also my foot feels cold and painful.
Yeah.
It's just not fun.
This is so weird.
Oh shoot. Okay.
I think it's time for creepier music than this.
Yeah. Ah!
I don't know. Zane's panicking. I don't know what to do.
All right. So the only thing like Dahlia can think of right now is probably like, if he's possessed by an interdimensional alien monster, then maybe we can exorcise him like a demon.
Oh Oh my gosh,
That's what possessed
such a
people do.
Dahlia thought, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you exercise the demon, so you exercise the alien, and so that's what she's gonna tell Amanda to do.
Okay.
You're like, Amanda, your dad is possessed by an evil alien monster. You have to exorcise the monster from your dad. Okay. Oh, okay. This is like.
Is there a blanket? Is there a blanket? Any blankets near? We probably haven't even gotten
There is.
blankets out. have
Oh
we?
shoot! No,
Probably,
but
yeah,
no,
you set up like.
I guess we were
tents,
sitting
probably
around,
sleeping
yeah.
bags and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So blankets. are
Amanda
good.
is one of her aspects that we have control over is that she's highly protective of a member of the group, and I feel like that could make sense to be Zane.
Mhm.
So maybe
Yes.
she's in spite of other dangers. Maybe she's going to try to wrap a blanket around to at least put out the fire
Smother the
that's
fire.
out of control, even though there's
Mm.
tentacly stuff around it.
Yeah, and I think seeing what Zane was trying to do and seeing now what the monster cone is doing, Dahlia's going to take the sand bucket that was there the whole time, and she's gonna dump the whole thing on the fire, like the dirt bucket that they have.
On Zane's fire or on the main
onto
fire?
the fire, onto the main fire. So yeah, because we don't want him to get any more fire. Whatever this is like really likes it. So
Yeah.
we need
and
to smother all the fire.
That's awesome. Okay, I think for this, let's get grit rolls from both Amanda and Dahlia.
Okay.
I'll do
So-
Amanda.
D10
All right.
for Amanda.
D10. It's gonna show up as a fight for me, but I'll
Okay.
just start. Whoa!
Whoa!
Are you kidding? Is that real?
Oh my gosh, you did it again!
I did it again.
Rolled a 36 on a d20. Oh my lord.
But the max you can roll. I got a 1. Amanda got a 1. But Cassie got a 20. The highest you can get is a 20, right?
Yes, 20
Yes.
is the highest.
It's the highest.
Max. But it also, anytime you roll a 20, this is an action for which you are known outside of the town. So this is something, the story
Oh,
of Dahlia
geez. Oh my
punching a bear
gosh.
in the face is known in many places.
You are
people in Lower Grape tell that story.
Right?
You are further building your legend.
If you don't mind me taking a little bit more leeway on this one,
Pretty much anything you want to do, I'll stop you if you're like, godlike powers. But
Yeah,
other than that-
yeah. So
Dahlia raises the earth from the
right, yeah. Somehow Dahlia gains superpower. No, Dahlia takes the bucket and starts like pouring it over the fire, but then she realizes that that kind of Amanda has kind of frozen up, like she's kind of like like she has the blanket in hand and she's not doing anything, and so like what she's like already like in the dumping action on the fire, so then she just kind of like kind of lunges forward and like scrapes dirt up off the ground with the bucket, and then just like to kind of throw it onto the fire on Zane's leg as well.
Okay, so you go for the main fire and you get both.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
And I think that Amanda is like, she's totally frozen, just like you said. She's like, and she kind of goes towards the fire, but as Dahlia puts it out with like in an instant, she kind of looks at the blanket and she just reaches down and like wraps it around Zane's shoulders and starts kind of pulling him away from the monster.
Yeah.
And
I think
go ahead.
Oh, it's like I think that Dahlia's dad realizing that there's something very terribly wrong is it is like actually getting out his shotgun, because he just like it's like as a last resort kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's got the shotgun and he's putting the casing into it, and he's just like kind of like nobody wants to do that. And I'm like, no, nobody wants to shoot somebody else, like, honestly. So there's like, but then he realizes that there's something even worse, because he sees the tentacle arm thing. So
yeah.
he's got like the shotgun kind of like pointed like in one hand, kind of ready to lift up, but then he's got the flashlight in the other, and I think he's gonna yell at Zane to tell me that it doesn't like the flashlight light. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'll add one more thing to Dahlia's wild success. That she you kind of pull, like, as you pour the sand over, you somehow sort of prevent it from going back fully into Dr. Cone, and you see his eyes kind of return to almost normal, and his face is very pale and stressed, but looks like himself. And
his eyes are red and his tears streaming down his face from fucking bear spray right in the face.
Yeah. And there's like his arms are still that black purple color, like it's still in his arms. And he looks up and he says, "Get it out! Get it out! Can you get it out?" Yeah. So shotgun's out. Dr. Cone is somewhat lucid. Amanda has frozen up, but manages to uselessly try to pull Zane to safety.
Oh, Zane, you better give this woman a pep talk to save everyone.
Oh my gosh.
We're counting on you. Get her back in the game.
She's she hasn't used her powers in 4 months. And she doesn't want to. I think you all know that, like, implicitly.
Say, Amanda, this is, you've got to do something.
It's possessing your dad.
Okay.
Listen, this is, I know you don't want to do this, but it's either this or Mr. Kenny is gonna have to shoot him. And we don't want that to happen.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
That's like Mr. Kenny's like, I don't want.
So she kind of nods, and I think she's gonna try to open up a portal like right above this thing, where like your foot and his arms are connected. So she is gonna spend a psychic energy token. So she starts with 7. That brings her down to 6. Zane, because you were encouraging her, can you roll 2d4?
2d.
Ooh, that was good timing.
Right?
2d4.
Oh.
D4. Let's see. Did this work? Will this work? I think I just have to type it in, don't I? There's no macro I can click.
No, there's on the left-hand side. There's a row. There's a D20 dice shape. And you just mouse over that, and there's a D4. And you hit 2.
I know how to use this.
Okay, cool.
I've rolled 20 before.
Yeah. That's a 6.
Ooh, 6. That's pretty dang good.
That's pretty darn good. Now let me double check which direction it goes. Do you want less or more?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember either. Please hold while I look this up in the rulebook, which I probably should have done before.
Wow, this is something else.
Yeah, because I think it's like, because she's gonna open a portal, but then she has to like, we have to like trick it to go into the portal.
How do we get it in there? That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the question. Okay.
But what about...
Somebody vamp.
Isn't there like a... Are we going to have to figure out a way to separate the two. I don't know how to
Yeah.
do this.
Oh man.
Yeah, so she succeeds. With
Okay.
a high roll is better. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
So she gets like that blackened arm look,
Yeah.
and a small, like a little dinner plate sized portal opens up. You hear that sound, that noise that always accompanies it.
Right.
And she's kind of holding it open. She says, "Now what?" And Dr. Cone's like trying to like wriggle his way free. Like this thing has trapped both the Zane and Cone in this one spot where the fire used to be.
Dahlia has an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Dahlia still has the lantern.
Zane can't body check him, so.
So it wants the fire, and we gotta get it to go back in the hole. So we have to get the fire in the portal.
Yes. Now you're thinking with portals.
Right? So
and fire.
Dahlia, yeah, right. Dahlia is like, I know what to do. And it's like, all we gotta do is put the fire in the portal. So she doesn't really understand how the portal works though. And so like I think that this is the part maybe that like she might have to try to fail a brains roll.
To fail a brains.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, because she's got the idea, she thinks it'll work, but she like, so she doesn't know if she should like put the like if she could give it to like Amanda, and Amanda can like dangle it in the portal, or if she has to like kind of dangle it in front of the portal to like get it to do stuff.
Okay, I love this. This is awesome.
So yeah, so that's kind of where the decision that Dahlia has to make.
Now, your strength cool under pressure, what does that do for you?
It gives me +3, I believe, to my roll.
Just in general, for anything?
I believe for being cool under pressure.
Do you have to spend an adversity token?
I don't know that part. Perhaps I do, but I don't have one of those yet anymore. Probably should double check.
Okay, well, go ahead and roll your brains.
Okay.
And we'll look that up.
Cool under pressure is may spend an adversity token to take half of your die's value instead of rolling on a snap decision.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Then no, we don't have to worry about that. Okay. All right. 3.
So Dahlia, I'm gonna this is a failure, and I'm gonna kind of mix this up a little bit because you don't know how to do this. My question to you is, how would Dahlia respond? Will she know that she doesn't know and look for help, or will she just dive in and pick something and see if it works?
Oh, geez.
What do you think she'd do?
Well, yeah, I think so. Oh man, I gotta consider this because normally, under circumstances, I think that like because they're in the woods and their inner thing, and she's supposed to be like the one that knows stuff. Like, I would expect her to just be like, I know things, But now seeing the actual thing happening and seeing Amanda's blackened hand opening the portal, and it's just kind of like taken her all the way back to that moment, like when 4 months ago. And so because the last time somebody did something like over like the last time somebody did something stupid like that, they died. So
yes.
So
she's a little bit frozen, maybe, like she's not.
Yeah, I think that she's gonna be like she's just gonna probably have to. I think she gets closer, but she doesn't actually execute. So she's like kind of halfway now in between Amanda and Monster Cone.
Okay.
And so now she's
a little uncertain.
I don't know which way's gonna work better.
Yeah.
I need help. I need help.
And Amanda, she's holding open this portal, and she says, "Just throw it in, just throw it in." And the thing is starting to notice your lantern. It's starting to like writhe up towards it.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. I'm gonna try to throw it in. I'm gonna try.
So when you say throw it in, do you mean you like take the lantern and toss it up into the portal?
Yeah, because that's what she's interpreting Amanda's instructions for, or else maybe. So so yeah, she's gonna try to throw it into the portal.
Okay.
Yep.
So you reach over and you throw it in, and as you approach, it like as you approach, it starts like reaching up towards the lantern even more. But let's get a fight roll.
Oh Jesus!
This is your.
This is one of my better ones.
This is one of your better ones, yeah.
I can't watch me roll.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
okay.
That's not bad.
Describe your heroic victory as you throw this effortlessly into the portal.
So
and
did you
succeed in
just
baiting it?
pick up a log from the fire?
No, I had the lantern.
Oh, the lantern. Okay.
Yeah, I had them because yeah. I actually think that I want to involve Zane in it. So like. So the monster is there, and its tentacles kind of reaching out, and it's reaching at like an angle where she's not sure if it's gonna catch it before it gets there, and so she looks at Zane, and she hopes that he knows what she's thinking for just a moment. It's like, Zane, catch! So she throws the lantern at Zane. And so it's flying through the air. The tentacle, like, was expecting it to go for the hole, and it miscalculated. So it just like went right under. And Zane grabs it like by the actual like the glass of
ouch
of the flame. So he's turning his flame. It dulls the flames for just a moment, enough for the monster to be to refocus, and then as he like takes it by the swingy handle bit, and then he just does it like an alley-oop straight up into the portal, just as the tentacle is reaching for the lantern again. So and grabs a hold of the lantern as the lantern is going through the portal. It's spaghetti noodle.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Well, I was just gonna say, what would you like me to roll to do that?
I think we'll leave that. That's more like flavor.
Gotcha.
Extending for Dahlia's role.
Okay.
And Amanda closes her fist, and the portal snaps shut behind it, just as this slug-like blob reaches up, latches onto the lantern, and with a weird rustling sound, the portal closes. And we're left with Dr. Cone grabbing on to Zane's foot. And it is dark, and it is very, very quiet.
Dr. Cone, Mr. Dr. Cone, are you okay?
Yeah. Yes, I'm fine.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
It wasn't your fault. I go into Dahlia's bag, assuming that she probably has some sort of like first aid kit, because he does.
It might just be in the general bags that we packed. So yeah,
sure.
But yeah, you can definitely.
He doesn't
find
really
it.
know what he's gonna do with it. He just knows that Billy, in situations like this, has always got a first aid kit. So he figures maybe that's the right thing to do. Billy's always prepared.
True.
You've got burns on your foot. He's got burns on his hands. You've got your hands are blistering too because you grabbed that lantern by the glass.
Yeah. I don't think Zane's quite like aware of his injuries yet, but
yeah. You're like, why does my hand hurt? Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you I think Mr. Kenny very cautiously restarts the fire, but kind of is like checking in with Amanda, and seems like the danger has passed. And you all sort of patch yourselves up, and Mr. Kenny says, "Well, I guess I don't think we can get back tonight. We might get lost if we try to go through. It'll take us too long. So we're gonna have to hunker down." Amanda, do you think there's any more of those here? And Amanda kind of shrugs. She says, "I don't hear anything. I don't think so. Maybe." And she kind of shuffles a little bit closer to Zane on the log that you're sitting on.
I don't know if we should be. These trees are still giving me the creeps.
Yeah, and they're like a ways away, but you know they're there. Like you can't see them, but you know. And everybody kind of nods, and Mr. Kenny says, "Well, I think probably we should have some people taking turns watching out tonight. I know I won't sleep much."
I think I'm trying to decide if Zane would defer to adults at this point, but I think right now he wants to be the cool tough guy, but so I think he says I'm gonna be patching up my leg and taking care of all this. I'll take first watch and he's like saying it in his tough guy voice, you know. I'll take first watch. Like you know how every once in a while Zane acts like he's an equal to the adults that are around.
And I think both men see right through this. You know, they did the same thing at age 17.
Yeah.
And Mr. Kenny says, "You know what, Zane? Thanks. We'll wake you up closer to the morning, and you can watch out for us then."
You sure, man?
Yeah, I'm sure. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Dr. Cone needs to sleep, rest.
I think he'll take it. I'll be up for a bit.
What's Mr. Kenny's first name?
I think it's Jerry.
Gerald?
Hold on, I'm looking at it right now. Give me one second.
I know our dad was Gerard. I know, so maybe that.
Yeah.
But.
So where did it go? I'm trying to read through the thing that we came up, and for some reason,
I gave Dr. Cone a name.
Yeah, not Dr. Cone. But yeah, Jerry. It's number 9. Jerry's trained crows are responsible for 90%. Yeah, so it's Jerry.
Jerry.
With the G.
So Zane goes, "All right, yeah, okay, I think that's a pretty good idea, Jerry. You just wake me up if you need anything, okay?"
Dahlia's looking at him like he's like, "Say am I?" Like, you're not supposed to use adults' first names.
I mean, even as it's coming out of Zane's mouth, he's like, it feels kind of weird, but like he's trying to push through it. Like,
I think Dr. Cone is pretty exhausted, so Steve, his name will be Steve. He calls it an early night. He goes and rests and seems pretty exhausted. Mr. Kenny stays up for a bit, and I think the rest of you going to bed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nothing happens throughout the night. This feels very D&D.
I know, like that's what
we're taking a short rest.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Dahlia would have been exposed to Dungeons and Dragons at this point, if Billy was into it. But yeah, like if she was like, this is like a real adventuring part in D&D.
I feel like she totally has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
They have one. Billy runs a game, and it's just her as the one player. And
Yeah.
You tried to get Zane to play one time, and he was like,
no.
no.
He played for a little bit, and he was like, I don't get it. And
this is not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get up the next morning, pack up, and instead of going deeper into the forest like you normally do, make the executive decision that it's probably time to go home.
Dahlia's really disappointed about that.
Yeah, I think Mr. Kenny is too, but I think they're very sensitive to the other three. They are not.
Yeah,
we already killed the monster.
Zane woke up. He hasn't slept all night because he's been terrified. And
Yeah.
he's got like
Every
red.
sound is scary.
He's got like red eyes and.
Oh yeah, and Dr. Cone, man, he got the face full of bear spray, so
That's
he's
right.
probably not doing too hot.
He's
Yeah,
got
they're having a
swollen
rough go.
face and.
I'm sorry I did that.
So you head back, and Amanda on the way. You avoid the weird trail of trees, and on
for
the
the
way,
best.
Amanda. By the time you're about 3/4 down there, she's really limping. She probably should have broken in these hiking boots a little better. And she's kind of trailing behind the group, trying to keep up, trying to pretend it doesn't hurt that much. Maybe half an hour out of the card.
Zane's probably complained several times that his hands and leg are hurting.
Yeah, so he's probably a little slow as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so honestly I think that it's not obvious to the two like dads what's happening with the way that Zane and Amanda kind of interact. Like so I think that as Amanda is getting a little like further behind, and they're also probably maybe a little tired of Zane complaining too, just saying.
No,
I think either one of them, either Mr. Kinney or Dr. Cone, says, why don't you go back and check on Amanda?
Oh.
And then Dahlia's about to volunteer, and Kenny's like, no. He gives her the not happening sign.
No, Dahlia, let Zane do it.
I don't want to hear him anymore.
Yeah. I feel like Zane probably would definitely have taken that up. 'Cause, that's like that's what the teenagers would end up doing that are into each other. They would have ended up trailing behind everyone anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
So you fall and step beside each other, and in great contrast to you, she has not complained at all and is pretending nothing hurts.
Yeah. So maybe Amanda, maybe sometime we should do a vacation in Toronto and not the woods.
Oh my God, yes. And she kind of like limps along, trying to hide her whizzes. It's so much better than here.
Yeah. I can't say I'd argue with something like that, although I'm honestly, Amanda, I'm looking for a silver lining here.
Nature's beautiful, and as she is about to say beautiful, she gets like a twig like smacks her in the face.
Yeah, she wasn't quite paying attention anymore, and she runs.
And she just kind of like rubs at it, and okay, we're almost there.
Yeah.
And then she blurts out of nowhere, I thought you liked Michelle.
Huh?
That's what everyone says.
That's what everyone
I don't.
says.
I mean, she spends
Oh,
a lot of
man.
time talking to Zach. I don't know. She's kind of ditzy, and that's I don't know if that's really my type, you know?
Okay. And she kind of just smiles a little bit and keeps flipping.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Zane. Be all cool. You got this.
Use that D20 charm.
Right?
Yeah. I don't think Zane's quite. Zane's I think he's still holding. He's still waiting. He's still waiting until they until they get out of the woods.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
So yeah, you hobble your way out. Zane continues to complain. Amanda continues to pretend. And the other three are grateful for the silence. And yeah, you emerge to this gravel parking area where your cars are. You load up all of your backpacks and all your stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, what's anyone want to do anything before you head back to town?
I think I'm good.
So.
Zed,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Amanda, maybe maybe you want to, you know, we could sit together at lunch from now on.
That sounds good.
Kind of getting annoyed with Zach keeps calling me about hockey practice, and kind of done with hockey.
You don't like hockey?
I never really did like hockey. Don't tell my mom. She really wants me to be into extracurricular stuff.
Yeah, hockey's dumb.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He's like the
Okay.
first person in his life that's ever like said what he's been thinking out loud.
I don't get it. It's just like you just hit it better, hit the puck better. I don't
Yeah. And
really care.
I'll tell you, can't really see it very easily. It moves so fast. I'm not very good.
What? Everybody says you're the best.
I don't know. I kind of just get lucky.
Yeah, okay, for sure.
So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Wait, is it Sunday?
No, it's
Yeah,
like,
it's like
this
there's
is
like a
like
couple-
day
couple
one
days.
of camping trip that was supposed to be like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a couple 3 days, and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, it's like till Saturday.
Yeah.
Well,
He definitely still says see you tomorrow, and then doesn't, and then realizes, or whenever school is, I gotta go.
she's like tomorrow. I mean, you could come over if you want.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah.
Okay,
What do
yeah.
you want? We can hang out and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Sure. I'll give you a call. I
Okay.
gotta. Billy's gonna want to know what happened, so I better head.
Yeah. My mom's gonna be
I can
surprised
tell, Billy.
that we're home.
Are your arms and hands okay?
Oh yeah, no, they're fine. It's just my feet kind of hurt a little bit.
Oh yeah. So. I'll. Good luck. See you tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
I'll call you. But yeah. Bye.
and Dahlia, I imagine Dahlia's like,
Yeah, she's all like hanging out of the window of the truck, just kind of like, like this.
And Amanda like looks away as like kind of watches as Zane leaves, and then looks over, sees Dahlia. She goes, "Shut up." And then she goes into the car with her dad.
Dahlia doesn't understand this whole like boys and girls liking each other thing, except in movies. Like she knows those things. That's about it. But she doesn't understand it in real life. Right? Exactly. That's Robin. It worked. Whatever it was, I don't know, but it worked. Success.
Yeah. Dahlia's plan.
My whole plan. Like she's some sort of evil genius. I knew that there was going to be a monster out there, and that way, everyone would get closer together. It was all part of my plan. No, I don't even. She doesn't even think that far. She's just like, I'm gonna tell Billy.
Billy is enraptured by the stories. And but he does not appear to be upset that he missed out. He's actually kind of glad he didn't go. And him and Dahlia play Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeon and Dragon, because
right. The one person campaign
for all day Sunday.
And she has like 3 character sheets in front of her just to make sure like they can have like a full party.
She's got like voices for all of them.
Yeah. And it's all really stupid.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
That was super awkward in like the best way.
Yeah, for sure. So what would it have been? Oh, it's AD&D. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's
advanced dungeons.
It's AD&D, so it's not. It's got like I think that's still the THACO era as well. So yeah, it would be a very interesting.
3rd edition doesn't come out for 5 more years.
Yeah, I think like 99 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah.
All right, so as we say goodbye to these characters for this go of Kids on Bikes, what do you want? What do you want to remember them by? What's your is there anything they do over the next couple weeks, or
oh my gosh,
any final thoughts on where they're headed?
I think oddly and maybe unexpectedly, this experience in the woods with you would expect to re-traumatize, but Zane, I think somehow like it somehow helped him move on, like in a weird way, because it's like being exposed to it again. Who knows? Maybe it's a realization that it's something that he can deal with. Like he's always looking for something that, just like many teenagers who are trying to figure out who, as they're getting to adulthood, are trying to figure out who the hell they are. Maybe like he's starting to realize that's something that he's got a handle on, which is dealing with interdimensional threats in Middle Grape, Ontario.
It's a niche market, but
yeah. But it's something. It's something that is like able to be stored away in his like development of his ego as he's growing, and who knows what's going to happen between Zane and Amanda? I don't know. But he's happy about that. That's happening, but albeit apprehensive. Not apprehensive. That's not the right word. Just uncomfortable in a good way, if that makes any sense. Like he doesn't know what's, like he's always been
uncertain.
Yeah, there's that pleasant uncertainty that he's enjoying right now. Whereas he's used to knowing all the moves and all the steps, you know, like.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, nice. So, for Dahlia, Dr. Cone turned out that he had had an injury that he had the doctors for his arm because it was like kind of like from being like stretched, like some like it got dislocated and stuff. So he has to go to the doctor, and when they ask him how it happened, he tells them that there was a bear. and the bear like grabbed onto his arm and onto his like jacket and pulled him so that like he dislocated his elbow and his shoulder and his fingers. Who knows? It was really scary. But then Dahlia was able to it says like, but Dahlia, she's a real expert with bears and stuff, from heard about her exploits with the last one. Well, she was able to single-handedly take care of this
with a
big
bucket of
old
sand.
bear with a bucket of sand and some bear spray, and just chased it right out of and saved everyone.
Dahlia's reputation, Dahlia, bear killer kitty.
Right. So she's just like, oh my god, no.
I think that this story makes it's a human interest story in Lower Grape newspaper,
Jesus.
and it gets picked up by the Toronto Star, and they run like a it's like on the 7th page of the like human interest section, like it's not of like the life section, and it's like Middle Grape girl heroically saves citizen twice.
Save citizens for bears twice.
Yeah. Little Dahlia Kenny can't be stopped by a bear. Like it's small time. Not only like people over the age of 60 read it, but
yeah, but still, like it gets like dispersed through, and then like somebody's grandma or something like clips out things. I'm like, I saw this in neighbors. This is true, and
they're mailing it to you.
Yeah, mailing it. Yeah, mailing it to their. It's like, do you know this? She's in Middle Grape. You should say hi to her and tell her what a great job she's done. And so like, I got fucking strangers who like coming up to me and be like, I don't know. No.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
And so she really can't wait for the summer to be away from people, and hopefully this whole bear thing will die down.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's just so amazing that happened twice.
Yeah, me too.
I think Amanda she feels more comfortable with her abilities now. Like she is in control. Before she felt like she'd lost control, and she feels like she can, at very least, she can kind of like, yeah, she's going almost to the next level of it. And I think she maybe starts messing with it a little more.
Oh man,
playing around with what she can do,
experimenting.
Yeah, but always with the thought that her dad warns her that Inspector Grist said that she called them there, like she was a beacon for them. He described her, and so she's really secretive about it and cautious, but yeah, she feels a little more comfortable with that idea. I think with Zane, she's very, very excited about it for sure, just like any teenager would be. But she still has that guilt in the back of her mind that she's eventually going to have to confront and handle. Yeah, so she's afraid, and I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what will happen with them.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right. Well. That was awesome.
This is
I
one of the
wasn't
best
sure
games.
how-
This is one of the best games I've ever played.
Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. I
Mhm.
wasn't sure how this would go for the last session because I was
Yeah.
like, oh, whoops, sorry, Roxa. Because I was like, well, we kind of just did everything. What are we
Yeah.
trying to do now?
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I'm glad Palmer wasn't here. But no, I kid. But I did think I really liked the opportunity for Zane and Dahlia to have their like moments together. It was fun.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. It was so. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
That was I did kind of the parts with Zane and Amanda. I kind of felt like a teenager again a little bit.
Me too.
Right?
I was like, this is exactly what it felt like, but like from an arm's length where I wasn't like, and now I want to die.
Yeah. Right. I definitely did feel a little bit of like a uncomfortable. I don't know what to say right now, kind of. But it was a lot of fun. This game hit I think a sweet spot for me in my like entertainment and my I don't know, I'm in this weird phase in my like nostalgia moment in my life. You know what I mean? Like, and I think this game really sort of like hit that, like fed that for me, hit that sweet spot. It's a really fun way to explore that nostalgia, you know.
Yeah. It was very fun.
Yeah.
It was like interesting to remember how like direct and like 11-year-old's logic kind of is, and then how that just kind of like comes out of nowhere. But like I have an 11-year-old literally right over there right now that I kind of like emulate.
channel that 11-year-old.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's another part of it. Like the nostalgia is great and everything, but it's fun to try to react, like imagine what was, because that's what I kept doing is like, when I was 17 years old, how would I be reacting to what this weird thing that's going on right now? I surprised myself several times, like remembering the arrogance of being a 17-year-old, or remembering the naivete, but that combined with the arrogance of being 17, you know, like.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
it's a lot of fun.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's good times.
As I was writing up Amanda's aspects, I was like, she sounds very familiar. This is what I was like when I was 15.
Oh man, I'm glad I didn't make a character that was like me when I was 17. It would have been
not entirely, but
it would have been Zane would have been much more what do you want to say, like much more of a know-it-all, much more of a and much more pushy about it.
yeah, and I think it was good that you all took more control of her, so that she didn't end up being too much of a
I liked it.
So yeah, you
I
always
liked it a
know when
lot.
you're doing that. Like you were like, oh wait, hang on. But I think we all probably took parts of our childhood to inform.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think that's it for me. I don't know if I'm gonna be on what shows I'm gonna be on in the future and what my future holds. Like many of us, everything is kind of hour by hour and day by day right now.
Yeah, even last night was supposed to be the last episode of Leverage, and we didn't do that. Who knows what's gonna happen with that show? I mean, I hate to say that, but like,
I know, yeah.
we live in uncertain times.
Truly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everybody who's watching,
one day at a time.
Everybody who's watching, I wasn't sure that I was going to tell everybody to wash their hands tonight. because I feel like what place do we on the Shadowcasters Network have to? But I've been emailed by people like TurboTax to tell me of all the things I should be doing in the midst of this. So I feel like it's okay for me to tell you guys. If TurboTax can tell me to be careful about the coronavirus,
tips you need to be careful for the corona. Yeah, right.
Then
and if you're watching this on YouTube at some point in the future, I hope it works out.
Yeah, I hope.
Remember this and how crazy it was? We are living it. It is March 17th, 2020, and
yay!
Life is ridiculous. That's St. Patrick's Day. I
St.
forgot
Patrick's
about that like
Day.
3 times.
That's because it's not being celebrated at all.
Nothing.
Me and my Me and my kids, we baked an Irish soda bread today.
Ooh, my mom shows me that.
Yeah. And we put green food coloring in it.
Hey,
as one should. Excellent. Yeah. So. Oh man. So I'm gonna take over for a little, like just a couple minutes, if you guys don't mind. So a lot of you who are regular watchers know that I am a independent, self-employed soap maker, and I do all sorts of cool RPG themed soaps. And so bar soaps, liquid soaps, and I have hand sanitizers right now. So if you find them in the store, you can find them on the Etsy page. So I'm putting that right there for you guys. Go there, and then I believe you should be able to use the code WASHUP to get free shipping on orders over $25.
For those who are watching on YouTube later, it's Pure Alchemy Soaps.
Yeah,
Etsy.com.
Yeah. Pure Alchemy Soaps is a business, and until the end of March 2020, it's free shipping on 25 or more. So because normally I sell my character sets at conventions for 25, and I'm not going to any conventions because they're all canceled.
Right. So help Cassie out and also help yourself out by getting some soap, because no lie, the best thing you could do is wash your hands. The soap doesn't just... It's not just a good idea. The soap literally kills the virus, okay? I'm serious, guys.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. There's a lipid shell, an outer layer that soap destroys, and it kills the virus. All right.
It does.
All right. So I won't go on any more of a rant.
I have 2 more plugs for my fellow artists. One of them is my sister. She does fiber arts, and so I'm gonna post up her stuff here. It is called Electric Flora Crafts. She does all natural dyes and uses cotton and cool things, and you can find her on Etsy under. Let's see, what do we got here? There we go. Chat. So. Electric Flora Crafts, and it's the same thing for her Instagram. I'm gonna show off some cool things she made. Some scrunchies. So this is perfect 90s thing for what we've got going on.
It's maybe slightly less neon, but that could be the natural.
Slightly, it is. It's quite possible. And she also does craft with felting. So this is one of her orchid pieces.
Yeah, I think Michelle in the music shop, she definitely has a scrunchie around her wrist.
Yeah, for sure.
At all times.
Yeah. And then she does some abstract felting art, weird things, but she also started making these little dolls.
Oh, they're so cute.
They're adorable and so cute. And she does, if people like to do yarning themselves, she makes yarns for you to use and make your own creations. So that's my sister. Like I said, Electric Flora Crafts on Instagram and on Etsy. And then I have one more. Promise it's going to be great because you guys have never seen anything like this. My friend Cam, who came back from Japan for a ceramics conference, because he's a master ceramicist who makes really great stuff. And
is that the word, ceramicist?
I have no idea. I just made it up.
Ceramatologist.
Ceramatologist. He's really good at his craft, and he was planning on being able to bunch of his stuff while he was at this conference, and it got canceled. So I have a bunch of stuff. He's got like these really awesome mugs. These are all handmade, hand spun. The cool ones though, I gotta show off. He does pink clays. This is the dragon fruit tumbler. So you can have your tumbler with your lemon cokes or your scotches, whatever. And then, if you like tiny things, he makes tiny teacups for and he also makes tiny teapots for your tiny teacups.
Adorbs.
Yeah, most of his stuff is because he sells most of his work in Japan, so it's all Japan sized because they have like their tiny teacups. So, if you guys would like to be able to see more of the cool stuff that he does, you can find him at, I'm going to put right here in the chat. It's his Instagram is where he does most of his work because that's where he posts up all stuff. And it's Nomad Inc. But it's spelled weird. So it is spelled G, like gnome, GNOMADINK. I spelled it slow so you guys can go back and rewatch it a few times on YouTube.
That's good.
Anyway, but he does some really great stuff, and he's here until I think the middle of the beginning of April. So if you see anything on there, he has stuff here with him, and he can ship literally anywhere in the world because he lives in Japan most of the time. Yeah. So
Awesome.
It goes everywhere. So please check them out. Support your local artists, even after this whole coronavirus is up. Support your local artists because they work really hard, and things like this can disrupt their entire lives. So keep it up. Keep up the great work, people who support local artists and fun things. You're great. Okay,
Definitely.
that's all.
Yeah, everybody stay safe and look out for each other, but from a distance.
From a
also.
distance. Yes.
From a distance.
Take care of each other. 6 feet apart.
Yeah. Give each other lots of thumbs ups.
Thumbs ups, man.
Thumbs up.
Please.
No high fives.
No high fives.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Kids on Bikes was a lot of fun, and
It was so great.
we will.
I can't. I want to do it again.
check out. Follow us on Twitch, on Twitter at SRCasters, and check our website ShadowcastersNetwork for any of the other stuff that we're going to be doing. So we will see you around. Thank you, everybody, and bye-bye.